the divine forge why suffering sculpts the chosen ones. Have you ever wondered why the ones with the greatest potential, the deepest wisdom, and the strongest spirits seem to endure the most suffering in childhood? Why is it that those who are destined to lead, to heal, and to awaken others often begin their journey in the depths of pain and loneliness? If you are watching this, you are not here by accident. You are here because your soul has been whispering to you, nudging you toward an answer you have always felt but never fully understood. The universe does not waste energy. Every experience, every hardship, every tear you have shed as a child was not random. It was not cruel fate, nor was it meaningless suffering. It was your initiation. Think about this: if you were meant to live an average life, why would the universe break you so early? If you were meant to follow the crowd, why were you set apart from them? From childhood, you have felt different. Maybe you were misunderstood. Maybe you were rejected. Maybe you were the black sheep of your family. But deep down, you always knew you were not like the others.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lessons.
And this is why you suffered. The chosen ones are not chosen because they are special. They are chosen because they have the capacity to endure, to transform, and to rise. The fire that destroys the weak is the same fire that forges the strong. In childhood trauma, that is the fire. Do you remember those nights when you cried yourself to sleep, wondering why no one understood you? Do you remember the moments when you felt invisible, unheard, unloved? That pain was not just suffering, it was a lesson. It was sharpening your soul, stretching your spirit, and preparing you for something greater. But here's the thing: the chosen ones are not just those who suffer. The chosen ones are those who overcome. Pain is an initiation, but transformation is a choice. Many people suffer, but not all awaken. Some remain trapped in their trauma, allowing it to define them, to chain them, to make them bitter. But the chosen ones, they take their suffering and transmute it into power. And this is where your path diverges. You have two choices right now. You can look at your childhood pain as a curse, as something that ruined you, broke you, and left you empty. Or you can see it as the very thing that gave you depth, wisdom, and strength beyond measure. Which one will you choose? Because here's the truth: every great leader, every spiritual master, every enlightened being, at some point they faced unbearable suffering. Buddha, Jesus, Rumi, Lao Tzu, and countless others, before they awakened, they endured. They were exiled, rejected, abandoned. And yet they emerged not as victims, but as warriors of the spirit. And so, the real question is, will you? Do not let your past define you as broken. Let it define you as reborn. Because those who have known the deepest darkness have the power to bring the greatest light. And now, as we move forward, let me ask you a question. If you could go back and erase all your childhood pain, but in doing so, you would lose all the wisdom, strength, and depth it gave you, would you? Think about that. Because in the next part, we are going even deeper. If childhood trauma is the forge of the chosen ones, then what exactly is it preparing us for? The sacred strength what your trauma awakened in you. Let's take this even further. Now that we understand that childhood trauma is not just suffering but an initiation, we must ask, what did it awaken in you? You see, pain is not just something that happens to you, it activates something inside you. When you were a child, you were not just hurt, you were being shaped. Think about the abilities you have now, your deep intuition, your sensitivity to energy, the way you can read people, feel emotions before they are spoken, sense the truth behind the words. Where did this come from? It came from your suffering. When you were young, you had to learn to survive. Maybe you grew up in a home where love was conditional, where silence was safer than speaking, where you had to sense danger before it arrived. This forced you to develop abilities most people never will. You learned to read between the lines. You learned to sense the energy of a room the moment you walked in. You learned to see through the masks people wear. And now, these are your gifts. But here's the paradox: the very abilities that make you powerful now were born from your deepest wounds. And this is why chosen ones often feel cursed, because their gifts come wrapped in pain. But here's the truth: your pain did not weaken you, it awakened you. And now you have a choice. Will you continue to see your past as something that broke you? Or will you recognize that it built you into something unstoppable? Because the moment you shift your perspective, everything changes. The moment you stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What did this give me?" that is the moment you reclaim your power. So now, let me ask you something even deeper. If your suffering was necessary to awaken your gifts, was it truly suffering? Or was it a divine initiation? Think about that. Because in the final part, we are going to talk about the most important thing of all: how to use what you have learned to fulfill your true purpose. The awakening: how to transmute pain into power. Now we reach the final level. You have suffered, you have endured, and now you understand that it was not meaningless, it was preparing you. But for what? Every chosen one has a mission. It is not an accident that you are here, that you are watching this, that you have survived what you have survived. The universe is calling you to step into your power. And the only way to do that, you must use what you have learned. Your pain gave you wisdom. Now, share it. Your suffering gave you strength. Now, help others find theirs. Your trauma gave you depth. Now, show others how to navigate their own darkness. Because here's the secret: the moment you stop seeing your past as something that happened to you and start seeing it as something that happened for you, everything changes. Your pain is your power. Your wounds are your wisdom. Your scars are your strength. And now, the world needs you. So the final question is this: will you step into your destiny, or will you let your past define you forever? The choice is yours. But know this: the ones who suffer the most are the ones who have the most to give. And that is why you are here. So rise. It is time. Now, let's push beyond everything we've discussed, because there's one final truth that will change everything. What if I told you that the suffering you endured as a child was not just preparation, not just initiation, but the very key to unlocking something hidden inside you? Most people never see it. They spend their entire lives trying to escape their past, bury their pain, numb it, forget it. But the chosen ones, they don't run, they don't hide, they face it. And in doing so, they discover something that most people never will. They realize that pain is not just something to survive, it is something that awakens. Think about the hardest moments of your childhood. The days when you felt completely alone. The nights when you thought no one would ever understand what you were going through. The moments when you wondered if you would ever be okay. In those moments, something inside you broke open. And what came out? Was it just suffering? Or was it something more? Because if you really look back, you'll see it. A kind of awareness was born in you that most people never develop. A knowing, a sharpness, a depth. While others lived on the surface, you were forced into the depths. While others were distracted by comfort, you were being forged in fire. While others floated through life, you were being prepared for something far greater. And here's what no one tells you: that pain, that suffering, it was never just about you. It was about what you would do with it. Because the moment you stop seeing your past as a wound and start seeing it as a gift, you unlock something that most people will never touch in their entire existence. So you unlock power. Not power in the way the world defines it. Not power over others. Not power to control. But something infinitely greater. The power to see, to understand, to heal, to guide. And that's why the world needs you. Because the ones who have suffered the most are the ones who have the map. They have walked through the fire, and if they choose, they can show others the way out. But not everyone will accept this path. Many will stay trapped in their pain. They will let it define them, destroy them, turn them bitter. They will hold on to their suffering like a chain around their neck, never realizing that they've had the key this entire time. But you have a choice. You can let your past break you, or you can let it build you. You can let your wounds make you weak, or you can let them make you unstoppable. And now, we reach the final question: will you rise? Or will you remain asleep? Because if you rise, everything changes. In the next part, we are going to break down exactly how to take everything you've been through and turn it into something so powerful, so unshakable, that nothing, no trauma, no wound, no past will ever hold you back again. Transmutation, turning suffering into unbreakable strength. Most people think healing is about forgetting, about moving on, about pretending the past never happened. That's a lie. Real healing isn't about erasing the past. It's about using it. Think about it: every wound you've ever had, every scar on your soul, it holds energy. It holds lessons. It holds power. And the moment you stop trying to run from it and instead learn how to harness it, you become unstoppable. So how do you do it? First, you must stop identifying as a victim. Yes, bad things happened to you. Yes, you suffered. Yes, it wasn't fair. But if you keep carrying that identity, you will stay trapped in it forever. Because the truth is, you are not just someone who suffered. You are someone who survived. And not just survived, you learned. You grew. You became something no one ever expected you to become. And when you fully step into that truth, everything shifts. Second, you must turn your pain into fuel. Most people let their trauma drain them. You must let it drive you. All that energy, the anger, the sadness, the loneliness, don't waste it. Use it. Use it to build something, to create something, to become something so powerful that your past no longer controls you. Because here's the real secret: if you take all the energy from your suffering and direct it towards something greater than yourself, you become limitless. And third, you must share what you have learned. Because here's what most people never realize: your pain was never just about you. You were given this path because one day, someone else will be lost in the same darkness you once knew. And when that day comes, you will be the one holding the light. That is the final transformation. Not just healing yourself, but becoming a guide for others. And that is why the chosen ones suffer the most. Because they are not just meant to heal, they are meant to lead, to break the cycle, to end the generational pain, to rise so high that they create a path for others to follow. And now, the choice is in your hands. Stay in the past, or use it to build something unstoppable. Which will it be? Because in the final part, we are going to talk about the ultimate truth, the one thing that will take everything we've discussed and turn it into something real. If you've made it this far, you already know the truth. But there's one last thing that changes everything. Pain is not just suffering. It is a portal to something greater, something deeper, something beyond anything you have ever known. Because think about it, why do the deepest spiritual masters, the wisest teachers, the most powerful souls all have one thing in common? They suffered, not because they were being punished, but because suffering opened something inside them. It shattered the illusions. It broke the false identity. It destroyed everything that was weak, leaving only what was real. And that is the final truth. Your pain was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to wake you up. Wake you up to who you really are, to what you are really capable of, to the fact that you are not just another person living another ordinary life. You are something else entirely. And now, the only thing left is for you to finally, fully, completely step into it. No more excuses. No more waiting. No more letting the past define you, because you were never meant to be just another person. You were meant to be a force, a guide, a leader, a chosen one. And now the time has come. Will you rise, or will you let everything you have been through be for nothing? The world is waiting, and so is your destiny. At this point, there's only one question left to answer. Why you? Why were you the one who had to suffer, while others lived normal, peaceful lives? Why did the universe seem to choose you for this path of hardship? The truth will shake everything you thought you knew. Because the reason you were tested so early is not random. It's not unfair. It's not meaningless. It was by design. Think about this: when a blacksmith wants to create a weapon of the highest quality, do they use weak metal? Do they let it sit in comfort? Do they avoid putting it through fire? No, they take the strongest material they can find. They heat it beyond its limits. They hammer it over and over again, breaking it, reshaping it, refining it until it becomes something unbreakable. That is what happened to you. The universe saw something in you that was rare. It saw potential beyond the ordinary. And because of that, it didn't give you an easy life. It didn't give you comfort. It didn't let you stay soft. It threw you into the fire, not to destroy you, but to forge you. And now the question is no longer why you suffered. The question is, what are you going to do with it? Because here's what most people don't realize: pain is not the end of the story. It's the beginning. It's the foundation upon which something extraordinary can be built if you choose to build it. So what will you create from everything you've been through? Because if you do nothing, the suffering was just suffering. But if you use it, if you master it, if you transform it, that's when it becomes something else entirely. It becomes your fuel, your wisdom, your power. And that's when you step into something most people will never experience in their entire lives: true freedom. Because when you master your pain, nothing can control you anymore. Not your past, not your wounds, not the people who hurt you. You become something untouchable. And that is why the universe tested you so early. Not to break you, to set you free. Now, here's the real question: what would your life look like if nothing from your past had the power to hurt you anymore? Because in the next part, we are going to take this even further. If the universe has been forging you for something greater, then what exactly is it preparing you for? The hidden destiny, why your pain holds the key to your purpose. Most people go their entire lives searching for their purpose. They look for it in their jobs, in their relationships, in their achievements, but the chosen ones, their purpose has been with them since the beginning. And here's the secret: your purpose is hiding inside the very thing that almost destroyed you. Look at your life. Look at everything you've been through. Look at the pain that shaped you, the wounds that cut the deepest. There, hidden beneath it all, is your mission. Because the purpose is not random. It's not something you find, it's something that's been calling you this entire time. And if you listen closely, you will hear it. Your deepest pain holds the blueprint for your highest calling. If you suffer in silence, maybe your mission is to help others find their voice. If you grew up feeling unloved, maybe your mission is to show others what real love looks like. If you were abandoned, maybe your mission is to create a place where no one ever feels alone again. You see, the universe doesn't waste pain. It recycles it into purpose. And the moment you see this, your entire life changes. Because suddenly your past is no longer a burden. It's a map pointing you toward the very thing you were born to do. And now you have a choice. Ignore it and stay trapped in the past, or follow it and step into your destiny. And that is the moment everything shifts. Because when a chosen one finally accepts their path, when they finally understand that their suffering was just the first chapter of a much greater story, nothing can stop them. They become unstoppable. So the final question is this: will you answer the call? Or will you let everything you've been through be for nothing? Because if you answer it, everything your past, your pain, your suffering finally makes sense. And in the last part, we are going to talk about the final transformation. The moment when a chosen one stops surviving and starts becoming. The final evolution, how to rise above everything that was meant to break you. This is it. The final truth. The one thing that separates those who spend their lives trapped in their past from those who rise above it forever. And it's this: you are not your wounds. You are not your pain. You are not what happened to you. You are something far greater. And the moment you stop identifying with your suffering, the moment you stop seeing yourself as someone who was hurt and start seeing yourself as someone who was transformed, that is the moment you become untouchable. Because here's what no one tells you: the past only has power over you if you keep feeding it. The pain only controls you if you keep holding on to it. But the second you decide that you are no longer that person, that you are no longer a prisoner to what happened, you break free. And when you break free, you don't just heal, you evolve. You become something new, something unstoppable, something that no pain, no trauma, no past can ever touch again. That is the final transformation of the chosen ones. Not just healing, but transcendence. Because healing means you fix what was broken, but transcendence means you become something that can never be broken again. And that is what the world is waiting for. Not just for you to heal, but for you to rise. Because when you rise, you don't just change your own life, you change everything. Guide. A force that others can look to when they need to find their own strength. And that is why the chosen ones suffer the most. Because they are not just here to survive, they are here to lead. To show others that no matter how dark the past was, no matter how deep the wounds go, there is always a way out. And that way out, it's you. So now the final question remains, will you stay trapped in what happened? Or will you become the person you were always meant to be? Because the world is waiting, and the time is now.